day 2 of Thrill-A-Day. My name is Hope. Welcome to Hopefully Here. I am reading through all the thrillers I have out from the library right now in the hopes of finding a new all-time favorite. So I was supposed to be reading Her Last Affair for this one by John Searles, and I started reading it last night and not for me, DNF'd. So it has been returned. It was an ebook, gone back to the library. So what we are reading today is You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. First impressions about this book, because I am 4 chapters in, they're very short chapters. It's one of those books that is absurdly heavy. What is that? How does a book this small have so much weight to it? I never understood that. But Geneva Rose wrote, what did she write that I've read by her recently? One of Us is Dead. And I thought that was an okay book. So I've picked up, I'm assuming this is her newest one. And so far, I gotta say, I'm not totally sold. The protagonist is not someone who's rubbing me the right way right now. And the first scene is her in the middle of nowhere having to go to a gas station, and she's like scared of the gas attendant. I don't know. And then it's just like the protagonist is potentially going to be a problem for me, but I will push on and see where it goes. However, I know that I am not somebody who just reads books for the sake of reading them. If I'm not enjoying it, I will stop it and we will start another one, because if the point is to find a favorite thriller and it's not jiving with me, then why would I continue to do it? But as I said, right now we follow Grace and Calvin. I think those are the 2 points of view. Calvin is the host of an Airbnb and Grace is staying at his Airbnb. So creepy Airbnb vibes, I'm sure, coming our way. There is one kind of funny little thing. Grace is a reader and she's talking about the books that she's brought with her. And she says something she says about thrillers, because she has one thriller with her, and she says, "This one promised a twisty ending I wouldn't see coming. It seemed every thriller promised that these days, but few actually delivered." So whether that's like a little meta narrative on some twisty ending coming at me, we shall see. But I do agree that most don't deliver, and I'm not sure about this one quite yet. But like I said, I'm very, very early on into it. So we are going to just have another chill day where I try to read this book today. Again, wish me luck. Like the quickest little update. So I mentioned that the first scene was this woman being terrified of a gas attendant. Don't even get me started, it's ridiculous. Anyways, there's this scene where Calvin comes in and says he'll make sure the doors are locked, gives her a key to the Airbnb so that she has access. And then she says, what does she say? "I consider asking why he would need to lock the door, but I don't want to come off as skittish. I wasn't that type of person, so I brushed the thought aside." Lady, yeah, you are that type of person. I just wanted to make a note of that here, because as I said, we're 30 pages in and already the protagonist is driving me crazy. It's about 3 minutes after the last little clip I gave you, and I apologize, the fan is on. I turned it off for the last one. I'm not turning it off for this one, it's way too hot. And now Calvin is annoying me. So here it is. We are 14 hours into this trip, and he acknowledges that. Not trip, but her being at his place. And he says, where's it go? Oh yeah, okay. His thought in his head, he's saying, "Grace was definitely different. And in only the 14 hours I had known her, she was surprising me in more ways than one." Okay, let me tell you what triggered this thought. The fact that she says, "I have a great recipe for Brussels sprouts." I'm not kidding you. That's what triggered that response. Boy, you live on a farm, and a girl says, "I have a great recipe for Brussels sprouts," and that is surprising to you? I'm thinking that this book may not be for me, because if I am this early in and now both the main characters are just saying stupid things, I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to handle 280 pages of it. I'm gonna give it a little bit more time, but we are coming to possibly the end of what I'm going to read for this book. I am at chapter 10. Okay, chapter 10. It is day 3 of this little thing, Kelvin and Grace having met each other. And I kid you not, Kelvin is saying, "Oh, sitting on the porch with her last night, noticing how she was different from anyone I'd met, made me realize I wanted to spend all my nights with her." Day 3. Day 3. You want to spend all your nights with her? You like, I can't with this dude. I can't with this girl. I am so conflicted about this book because I'm kind of curious as to what train wreck I am getting myself into by reading this, but also, do I want to waste my time? Jury's still out. We'll see. I made it to 100 pages, which means like a third of the way through because it's less than 300 pages. No, I'm not going to do it. Literally nothing has happened in this book so far, except she just fell off a horse. They had to go to the doctor, and she like can't remember her name or her insurance company. And I already kind of suspected that maybe Grace Evans isn't actually Grace Evans. And I feel like the author is trying to kind of put like just little clues that you follow that she's not who she says she is either, and that's fine, but I feel like the author right now is trying to depend on the chemistry between these two characters to keep the reader engaged, and it's not doing it for me, so I'm out. That is 2 DNFs in a row, which I'm totally fine with, and I am now going to attempt to go with Ruth Ware's 0 Days, and we'll see how this one plays out, because at some point there's got to be a success in here, right? Let's see. I am 110 pages in, and things are happening. Now, this is a thriller that knows to just get on with the plot already and don't leave us, I don't know, it just, like, get on with it, you know? It's a thriller. Keep the plot moving. And this has done that. It starts from the very beginning. We are already into it in the story. The woman, Jack, comes home and finds that her husband has been murdered. That's all in the synopsis. And they are a team. They're called penetration testers or something like that, where they test security systems in people's companies. So she goes in, she tries to break the security systems, and he tries to hack. And then they give a report to these people about, or to whoever has hired them, about where the flaws in their security are. That's what they were doing at the beginning. She comes home, he's been murdered, and now she's being framed, it looks like, for the murder of her husband. And she's just run away from the police. So that's where we're at right now. It's exciting. It's Ruth Ware. Ruth Ware generally writes books that I find fairly entertaining. I don't think I've read all of her stuff, but I've read a good number of them. Yeah, I am glad that this knows what a thriller is supposed to be. That makes me happy. As of right now, I'm gonna make a coffee and then read a little bit more, because I'm trying to do a thriller a day, but I previously had started 2 books and DNF'd them. I don't know that I'm actually gonna be able to finish this one today, but I will do my darndest to try. We will see how it plays out. And that is how it's going so far. Well, we can also call day 2 a success. I completed 0 Days by Ruth Ware. I completed it last night, but just didn't get around to filming. I ultimately ended up enjoying this thriller, which doesn't surprise me necessarily, but it kind of does, only because it seems to follow a very standard thriller premise. Woman comes home, man is murdered, woman's framed for the murder, she goes on the run and has to prove her innocence. Like, that in itself is not a unique plot, but I really enjoyed the way this story was told and the way the writing worked. What I really liked is that at no point in this book did something so outlandish happen that you needed to suspend all disbelief in the story and in the storytelling. It was all logical. It all made sense. to me anyways, and I really liked that. The pacing was immaculate. You got into the story, you worked through the mystery, the crime, you got out of the story. There was no extraneous detail, there were no subplots, there was nothing that was going to take away from the main aspect of the story. You're with the protagonist, her name is Jack, you're with her the entire time, and it just made sense. I really liked that. Now, made sense in the actions. She doesn't really do anything to me that screams. Sometimes you get a protagonist and they make ridiculous, stupid decisions and you're screaming at the character thinking like nobody in their right mind would ever make that decision. And I never felt like that with her. And I really appreciated that. I think that's what's missing in some thrillers. I think some thrillers are trying to go so far for the wow factor and the reveal that they almost forget what they're doing with their protagonist, with their main story. And Ruth Ware just did a really good job of balancing all that. So for me, this was a win, and that makes me incredibly happy. I mean, I had to DNF 2 books before I got to it, so far we're still 50-50 on this video. 2 I have finished and 2 I have not, but we were able to finish one yesterday. I didn't get 3 DNFs, and that is a win. I will be starting a 3rd book, or I guess I'll be starting a 5th book today, day 3, and we'll hopefully continue to have some good success. But for sure, definitely, for the thrillers out there, the thriller readers who just like a good standard, go have some fun thrills, yeah, I'd say pick this one up. But that is it for this video, and I thank you so much for sticking around. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.